How we doing, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Wolf, and I want to do a quick video with some of the information I've gotten from being able to lead my own groups in Fellowship thanks to the stream. The link is on screen right now to add me in Fellowship. Go to your friends and then add me with the invite player code, and then we can run some keys at some point. But thanks to the stream and you guys popping in to play keys, I have access to full groups and the ability to choose a dungeon. If you're playing solo queue, you cannot. I can't join right now. Thank you though. Appreciate you. Fuck. Didn't expect that to happen. I have the ability to look at every single dungeon here. You can also see them in the dungeon codex as well, if you want to go through all of these. But if you're solo queuing, you're going to get a random dungeon handed to you. So I want to do a quick video on what dungeons to look out for what role very, very early in Fellowship. So I'm in Contender League right now. I'm down here slumming it with the boys down in Contender. I want to try and make a Contender twin character, go through, get like as much stuff from other tiers and whatnot for every single piece of like haste gear. Come back, scale down to eye level 120 and dumpster everything. It's going to be a riot when I get to help carry you guys through Sithral's Falls. It's going to be fun. But with that being said, down here there's very specific stuff we're going to want to get. So first of all, yeah, first things first, you want to get your eye level 190 weapon right here from doing 16 games. You want to take this, pump it up to 120 at the blacksmith, and go from there. And then after that, what you want to try and do is time any Sithrall, or actually even time out a Sithrall. So for those of you leaving a Sithral's Fall and can't pull it off, you're actually screwing yourself out of your own loot and your own progress. What you can do is if you stockpile all your materials, like this, if you have 14 unstable mithril here, what you can actually do is go through, time a Sithral's Fall, first chance you get, or even miss time a Sithral's Fall, get a blue item, and then you can take that blue item to the Reforger and chain reforge it until you roll a weapon with a spell on it. So, you're welcome. Go do that. But, like, so that's the most important dungeon you should be aware of, because you're going to wind up having to farm this eventually. But when you first start out, if I could do this again, that is what I would do immediately. I would try and do a Sithral's Fall as soon as humanly possible with a team that can finish it. Well, a lot of people are leaving, unfortunately, if like boss 1 doesn't go well or boss 2 doesn't go well or whatever the fuck, right? So if you can manage to finish the dungeon, then you can take it to the blacksmith, or take it to the reforger over there. I think he's like right there, and then just chain reforge it all the way into a blue weapon, because the blue weapons have actives on them. So I don't have it on this character, but the actives are crazy powerful. So other than Sithrals to look out for, the other things you're going to keep in mind is that any dungeon you do has a chance to drop you trinkets. So these can drop from any dungeon whatsoever on any difficulty. So how do you get to Adept? You get to Adept from clearing the Sithrall. That's how you go up as well. So I need to time a Sithrall on my Helena too, because I don't have any blue gear on her right now. So what I'm going to do, like I said, go do one, even if we brick it, take the weapon, or take the item, roll it fucking 14 times, or use the higher ones until I get the other, until I get another weapon, or get a weapon in the first place. So, otherwise, if you're going through your standard solo queue, what dungeons should you keep an eye out for? This is going to be role dependent. So if you're playing tank, you're going to want to keep an eye out for Empyrean Sands. Now, fun fact, only 2% of the player base are playing tank. So this is your call to arms. We need more tanks. So, you're going to want to do Empyrean Sands, either 1 or 4. Reason being is the set is going to give you plus 5% max health, which is absolutely exceptional across the board. So if you can see this pop up at any time, whether difficulty 1 or difficulty 4, try and take it any chance you get, because if you drop this set piece, you're going to be chilling with an extra low 5% max HP, which is always nice. But then there is also the Wormheart 5 that you need to be keeping an eye out for as well, because this will make it so that you... my guy took off, but I still have the menu open. We'll be fine. So that you can get the 15% threat generation. Now, the other cool thing that you can do is you can actually drop these in low tier, and then you can fully upgrade them to 120. So if you can only manage to get a Contender 2 of Wormheart, and only manage to get a Contender 1 of Empyrean Sands, that's perfectly fine, because you can take the 15 eye level, and you can then spend all your gold on it, and push it all the way up to 120. So when you get a set piece, you can just push that bitch as much as humanly possible. So Empyrean Sands is a tank for max health percentage, and then Wormheart for the threat generation is what you're going to want to keep doing. Now the other ones are movement speed, but I find movement speed is not as useful because you can just mount up constantly. Oh, I need to switch heroes. Shit. Unlucky, huh? I'll have to do this the old-fashioned way then. There's also a magic damage reduction from the Spiders dungeon, if you want to go for that, if you're struggling with some of the magic stuff in certain tiers. But yeah, you can also get the pieces from Sailor's Abyss here, the max health and expertise percent as well. They do drop in extra dungeons, like the Godfall Quarry will also drop the threat generation. So keep an eye out for dungeons that have the threat generation gear, as well as the expertise and max health gear. Those are the absolute best by far. So, if we switch heroes here, over to Sylvie. That was a little buggy for a second there. Well, unfortunately, I'm going to have to do it from the Dungeon Codex then. I'll go from here. What you want to do for Sylvie is going to be Stormwatch, either 3 or 6. If you're playing Sylvie or Vigor, you're going to want to do as many Stormwatches as you can possibly achieve, because they have the max mana percent set pieces. These are what you're going to want to be keeping an eye out for. 15% max mana and 3% spirit. Like I said, there's a chance you can drop any dungeon, any of the trinkets at any time. And then there's also weapons that you can drop as well, obviously. But you're going to be wanting to be choosing this any chance you can get, because 15% max mana is just absolutely crazy. If you're doing some of the Sithral's fall bosses and you're playing really hard, or your team is taking a lot of damage, you're going to be very, very grateful for that 15% max mana. I haven't dropped the entire set on Sylvie or Vigor yet. I have one piece of both, and I've been able to choose and rerun and spam my dungeons. So, even still, try and pick Stormwatch any chance you get if you're in low contender keys. Now, if you're playing DPS, that's really the only one you want to watch out for as a healer. The rest of them you can run basically anytime you want. And whatever you get, you pray for a good trinket. Now, with Alarian and DPS in general, you're going to want to aim for... Where is it? Oh, did I get it on Tariq? I think I dropped it on Tariq. You're going to want to be doing the Spider Dungeon, which sucks. But you get Death's Grasp. This is going to give you 15% damage to low health enemies, as well as 3% spirit. And if you combine this with Tariq, things start to get very, very stupid, because our man over here has Culling Strike, which is Execute. Instantly deal damage to the enemy target, and it spends extra fury, increasing the damage it deals by up to 400%. However, it can only be used under targets with 30% or less health, which means that it's Execute, obviously. So you can only use it in 30% HP, Execute window on the boss, but that also makes it so you want to combine this with the damage increase from the Spider Dungeon. Spider Dungeon does kind of suck. Final boss blows, but the loot you get from it, absolutely worth it. And I believe, well, you get threat generate or minus threat generation on DPS, which isn't really as big of an issue. I haven't noticed many DPS pulling threat from me, but the rest of them pretty mid. But you can also do Stormwatch on DPS as well to get the plus 15% damage to low health enemies. So you're gonna want to make sure to go through and do Stormwatch as well as Silken Hollow. I think Stormwatch 6 is the best dungeon in the game, by the way. Like, I think that's the best one to chain farm for both healers and DPS, because DPS get Death's Grasp and healers get plus max mana, and Stormwatch 6 is very, 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 very easy, aside from the ball lightning enemies, and it also has my favorite spot in the game to try and DPS benchmark. So, Stormwatch 6, best dungeon in the game, in my opinion, from being able to pick my Qs in Contender 1 to 7. Playing with you boys has been absolutely wonderful. Absolutely incredible. But yeah, keep an eye out for Stormwatch any chance you get. Keep an eye out for Silken Hollow if you're playing DPS. Keep an eye out for, I believe it's Sailors if you're playing a healer. And then Empyrean Sands any chance you get for tanks. So, let me know if I missed anything down below. And otherwise, good luck timing your Sith rolls to then roll your gear into a weapon. Take care. And apparently, use your interrupts.